Now, in this video we're going to look at adding items into the inventory. It's a relatively straightforward process, very easy to do. So let's go and follow through our usual process. We go to the left hand side taskbar and we go down to inventory. Remember, of course, if you can't see anything on the taskbar, it might be that you don't have permission to access that module, so please speak with your system administrator and they will provide you with access to it. So we're on inventory and we notice instantly we've got all products and online products. All products is every item in your inventory. Online products are all the items that you wish to sell online. It's quite a simple sub-classification, dead easy to work with, and I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do for the purposes of this exercise is go to all products. So we'll click on all products and this brings up a list of all the products in inventory. We're then going to go to new, as we always do, and this will bring up the product details form. So if we just let's have a quick brief look at it. We've got item details, images, item options. Right, what we have in the item details area is product details in this area here, which are primarily bread and butter information, and then categories on our right hand side of the frame here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to look at the product code. The product code is something you could give internally to a product, or it could be something to reconcile it with your account system. So let's just give it a random number there, give it a name. Now for the purpose of this exercise, what we're going to do is we are going to add this dessert in a can. So here we go, it's a wonderful dessert in a can. So what we're going to do is we're going to put jam dessert. I suppose jam dessert will do the trick. Jam dessert with sponge. Just ignore that. We'll add it into the dictionary. Right, and we need to give it a short description. Why do we need to give it a short description? Well, again, a lot of things are what seems blindingly obvious now. In 2 or 3 years' time, when somebody's maintaining a database, might not be. And also the short description is used on the internet site as well. So it needs to be something that summons it up and also tries to get keywords in. So for example, this is a strawberry jam dessert ready to eat with sponge cake. We also have a barcode option. Now, if your product comes with a barcode already, as we can often find with things, then you could actually scan the existing barcode. Alternatively, if it hasn't got a barcode, iDiaries can actually generate a barcode for you, and we'll cover that in another video. The beauty is, by using a barcode scanner, if the product did have a barcode, what I can do is I can just scan it, and it will put the barcode into the system for me automatically. Wonderfully simple and dead easy to use, but we'll just create one for the purposes of this exercise. We can now go and put a description in. Just put some boilerplate text in just to give us something here. You can bold the text, you can carry out various text operations using the powerful description tools. We then have various ticks available here. So let's start our way through them. Catalogue item. Catalogue item means that it's available to be seen online, but a price wouldn't be applied to it. The reason is that what you might want to do is say to the world, we do this product, but not want to put a price to it. And that can be useful in various guises. It can also be useful almost as a portfolio of what you're capable of. Obviously, if you wanted to sell online, you'd need to place a tick in the available online button here. And that is quite simple. You place a tick in there and it will be instantly appearing in the shopping cart. Price and application. There might be certain products that you feel it's better to actually have a dialogue with the customer before they buy from you, because you might want to offer discounts, or you might want to find out and try and price it according to the customer. So at the end of the day, the price and application button allows you to do that. Now these are the more sophisticated options. What you can do is you can apply an internal cost. So we could say, well, for us that actual can there costs £10 for argument's sake. And what we could always do is we could apply a markup, and we could say, well, our markup on this item is always 15%. And there you can see the price is automatically worked out in the cost excluding tax. We can also set tax codes against the product. Because it's a dessert, I think it will come under a standard rate tax code. And bear in mind, the tax codes are all driven from the administration system, and as we saw when we were adding the prospect, when we were putting taxes in there, the beauty is that rather than each member of staff having to deal with the tax issues at that point in time, an administrator can go in, make a change, and that change is then carried across the entire system. It makes it easy to do. The quantity. We can set the quantity of stock, so we've got 230 cans. If we were shipping by weight, we could do, and again, gross weights, etc. can be calculated, so we'll just say 40. Now, the weighting is not geared to any specific rating type. That's again to make things easy, so it can be used across various structures as required. Max on order. Now, this is an interesting option. What can happen is the fact that you might have 230 cans in your warehouse, but say you were buying in the products from another company, but you know that they can deliver within 24 hours. So what you might choose to do is say that I have 230, but I can actually sell another 50 cans on top of that because of the fact that I know that the maximum on order that I can get resupplied is another 50 cans. So it means that if you suddenly have the best product ever that's going flying off the shelf all of a sudden, well, at the end of the day, you can actually sell a bit more than you do have in stock, but at the end of the day, by the time you process the orders and stuff, the customer won't know. A good example will be swimming pools on a hot summer's day, where suddenly everybody decides they want the swimming pool for the day after. And then we have shipping codes, and again, these can be applied to the items as required. So for example, we'll put next day on this one. The in-stock only tick means that you will only be able to sell what you've got in stock. So it would mean that in this case, if that was applied, we'd only be able to sell up to the buffer amount. So the 230 items, and that's it. You wouldn't be able to sell any further. If you unticked it, it would allow you to keep on taking orders and taking the payment for the orders. However, it would also inform a customer that at the end of the day, the item would be beyond, you know, they would have to wait for it to come in. Discontinued is a great feature. What happens as soon as the product reaches the end item of the line, so say we decided, right, this is an outstanding product item and we're not going to go any further with it, once we've sold can 230, the item will automatically remove itself from the shopping cart without any intervention from yourself. It will remove itself from the web catalogue without any intervention. Again, great little feature there. Right, what I'm now going to do is move across to the right, go up, and we can apply categories. The categories are quite important because if we go here, these are where the categories have an impact. So for example, if I click on dessert, dessert here, these are all the items in the dessert category. So what I'm going to do in this case is click here, and I'm going to apply it into just the dessert category here. We now go to images, and we can add images to go with the product. The more images, the better. Image hints are crucial. These are what Google picks up. So, can of soup for your interest. You can also set a display order, so you can say which image will appear at the top and which image will appear down in the order queue. Again though, that's a bit more advanced. We'll cover these sort of things a bit later on, so we'll just add a couple more pictures inside. And you can see the display order there was number 2. Now if we just add another one, to eat, again put my image in, Right, what we'll now do is we'll now go to the items options, and what you can do is you can add various options to the system. And again, this is a more advanced subject and we'll cover this somewhere else, but initially you probably wouldn't need to deal with this for just a simple placing of the system on. So what I'm now going to do, we'll just go back, have a quick overview there, just quickly check everything's right, and remember you can always come back and edit something, just it's not loaded at once and that's it. So again, as I always say to you, watch the top right hand side here where my mouse is. If I now go and press save, and what I want to do just before then as well, seeing as we're here, if we just look at the number of items, can source, creamed, so there's 3 items here. So there's going to be 2 things I'm going to show you. Watch this. If we now save here, what's now happening is the images have been saved and are being dragged up online as well by our system. So we've now got an ID number of 25. And if I now go and click on dessert on the website menu, here we go. Jam dessert with sponge, strawberry jam dessert, ready to eat with sponge cake. If I go to the more info tab, what I've now got is I've got the product code that we put in, I've got the tax codes, I've got how many are available, there's a quantity the customer can buy, there's multiple pictures here, you can scroll through them, we've got the text with the bolding, and a customer can even add a review. Now, I'll just quickly show you this. Partly goes into the setup of the shopping cart, but it also does go into the inventory as well when somebody does a review. So we'll just touch this now. It's dead easy because I want you to get up and running and selling online as fast as you can. We'll just go and put some comments in here, as you do. So if the customer now goes to add review, so the review doesn't appear just yet. What you have to do is go into the inventory module, and you see here there's an option that says unapproved reviews. So here is the review here. If I now double click on that review, we can see the details and we can see what rating they've applied to it, and you can see what they've done. What I'm going to do is I just need to put the system into edit mode, which is the little pencil. Double click on it. If I am happy with that review, I can now tick the review approved. I can now go to OK, and that is now saved. Once I've pressed the save button here, that's done. And if I now go and refresh this item, I'll just click over here. And here we go, that's the review. So it's easy for your customers to do it, and it's easy for you to look after it as well and manage it. You need to keep on top of reviews, and there's a whole procedural thing on that, and we'll cover that in another video. So that there is, in under 14 minutes, how to add an item into the inventory and how it will behave.